I'm Sister Mark. I'm an Episcopal nun in Anapkara Fellowship.
And I'm Lane William Brown. I'm an atheist.
And we're both bookworms.
Such bookworms.
And this is Lectio Fictina, where we take our favorite lines from our favorite books and we think about how they apply to our world and how they apply to our lives and how we can use them to become better people.
We're currently reading Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Hopefully you've heard of one of those people, and if not, now that's been fixed. It's a comedy about the end of the world, the great battle between good and evil, God and Satan, the four horsemen of the apocalypse and the Antichrist and the blowing of horns, and a couple of an angel and a demon who are trying to stop it all. Because they like Earth.
And if you've read Genesis, they're the angel and the demon from Genesis who were present at the fall. Aziraphale feels bad for Adam and Eve because it's so cold and they're going to be lost. And Crowley was instrumental in the fall, although he will point out that he didn't so much fall as saunter vaguely downwards.
Yes, Crowley was the snake who tempted Adam and Eve, and Aziraphale was the guy with the flaming sword who, again, as Sister Mark said, felt very, very bad for kicking him out into the cold.
Yeah. But you'll have to read the whole book for all the great comedy that you didn't expect to find in Genesis.
Indeed.
So what was the passage you chose?
All right. Admittedly, he was listening to a Best of Queen tape, but no conclusions should be drawn from this, because all tapes left in a car for more than about a fortnight metamorphose into the Best of Queen albums. This is Crowley driving in his demonically maintained Bentley. So, what did you get from this?
I had a really hard time with this because I read it and I went, oh, good. There's nothing else to that. It's Crowley listening to a cassette tape in the car. This book is from the 90s, so Crowley listens to cassette tapes. I'm pretty sure I have cassettes in my life still, but I couldn't tell you when I last listened to them. And then I thought, well, I overthink everything else. Why not this? I'm good at this. And what I came up with was, have you heard of the concept of code switching?
I have.
I assume you would because that's the kind of reading that you do, but I've first heard the term in a sociology class. And what code switching is our tendency to act different ways with different demographics of people. And so I act differently with you than I do with my parents, and I act differently with them than I do at my day job. And it's the sociological term for the ability to act appropriately in any given situation, or I guess to act differently. It's not really implied appropriate.
To like adjust your behavior to the situation.
Yeah, but you're different. You see it with kids who talk to their friends and then have to talk to the principal, for example. It's often discussed in academically in contexts of race or religion or ethnicity, when it's much more dramatic and has a greater impact on a person's life. So I thought about this tape, which adjusts to the cassette player that it's in. You leave it in the car too long and it becomes what it needs to be, which is a Best of Queen tape. Just like when I'm at work, I become what I need to be, which is a mature young professional, and when I'm with you, I don't bother because you don't need me to fill out the reports and make the spreadsheets and the phone calls. So this cassette tape is code switching. It is what it really is inside. But it becomes what it needs to be, which is Best of Queen. And so they make these references throughout the rest of the book, where they say, for example, to while away the time as they crossed the sleeping chilterns, they also listened to William Byrd's We Are the Champions, and Beethoven's I Want to Break Free. Neither as good as Vaughan Williams's Fat Bottomed Girls.
I just love that.
So the tape remains what it is inside, but it knows to act as a Best of Queen tape. So, what did you get out of it?
That was so overthinking it. I loved it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, I decided to be trouble, and for our very first episode to pick something that would be really hard.
It worked.
But it is also, like, we're picking lines that are personally meaningful to us and seeing how the other one kind of interprets that when given the chance. And for me, it's meaningful because I'm really into the concept of guilty pleasures and what they kind of say about humanity. We've all got that sort of part of ourselves. We've got something that we like, but we think is a little bit too lowbrow for us and we shouldn't like it or whatever. And if you read other books by Terry Pratchett, this is kind of a recurring gag that he likes to bring up. There's in The Last Continent, a bunch of wizards go to have a vacation on the beach, and they bring like these big tomes that turn into like the Delta game. And he explains that no, they really brought the wizardly books. It's just that all books, when brought to the beach, turn into something with a title like the Alpha Quadrant. And we all relate to that because we all have something that's a guilty pleasure. And this is actually, I think, thematically a bit deeper in the context of this book because, you've got this big, epic scale battle of good and evil. But then there's actually this sort of hidden third side of humanity, which has the free will to choose both or neither. And out of this isn't just like gray, but like an explosion of colors and weirdness and quirks and lovable foibles. And the way I read Good Omens, it's a little bit of a love story where Crowley and Aziraphale have just fallen in love with humanity despite all of its flaws and want to save it. And the reason that they fall in love is because of these kind of little human quirks that create things like cassette tapes that magically turn into Best of Queen albums if you leave them in your car for over a fortnight.
And we Gavot, and we have old books.
Yes, we're very weird.
Nice house plants. You might have to read Good Omens. It's definitely worth your time.
Yes, indeed. And next time we'll be doing another passage from it, this time something that Sister Mark chose and that I had to read and figure out, my own meaning from it.
So we'll get to see what Lane came up with.
Yeah. And we'll also hopefully soon be doing an intro to talk about kind of how we came up with this concept in the first place.
What you can expect, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Any closing words?
I think that's it for me.
Beautiful. Until next time, have a lovely week.
And keep overthinking shit.